Thank you very much, Robin, for coming on call with us. And I'm really interested to learn more about your experience coming from many different tech companies in China and then eventually coming here to Singapore to work with WIZ.AI on what they're building, which is not just a Southeast Asia solution for conversational AI, but really a global one, right? So they have clients all across the globe, including even Latin America. Quite an interesting company and always great to hear from their leaders. I think we've had Jennifer a couple of years ago on the show, and now great to meet another leader at WIZ.AI. Yeah, maybe you can do a quick intro of yourself for our listeners and for our audience, and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Paul. And I'm Robin from China, and I work for the AI companies for about more than 10 years. And I work for the enterprise technology industry for more than 20 years. Okay. So actually, I know Jianfeng and Wiz for a couple of years before. And what I know is that I get the journey about Wiz that they do very well on the voice board and also have a very strong customer base in Asia, this area, this region. And I think that is around that Dragon Festival, Dragon Boat Festival this year, and James Wong come to Shanghai and discuss with me about the new vision about Wiz, about the AI partner area. So that effectively intrigued my interest in. Okay, so we discussed a lot about how the large language model is changing the game in the enterprise technology. And also that we exchange a lot of insights in what we know in the comparing between the Asia and also the mainland China. So that led to the question that Jeff asked me if that is I'm considering about the opportunity in Singapore. So that's why I'm here because to me that is a very natural decision and very quick decision making. You consider about the macroeconomics environment. You consider about the AI trend in Asia, the companies and the interest on AI solution, this part, and also my positive experience of the Singapore. So I come here. Yeah. So in the past 2 months, I met a lot of the customers, partners, and it's a fantastic team that is full about the courage and the customers about the AI. And looking everyone is willing and also have a very culture to embrace about the AI right now. So that's really good here.
Yeah, so you mentioned a couple of interesting things. One is you talked to Tianfeng about the development of LLMs.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think you work in a couple of interesting companies back in China that are already doing AI and all of that. What are your views on how the LLM space has evolved in the last few years?
Yes, I think that should be from the 2 years ago that we saw that the LM is start from the aha moment from the ChatGPT. And that's a lot of company, not only startup company or big companies, they are changing about the AI technology development. And in China, especially that in the 2 years, you have also see that they have accelerating their pace about how to adapt this kind of technology into the applications. So I think that is very interesting. And I saw that a lot of industry company is trying to use the LM to now is to changing their working flow, even changing their business models.
And then another interesting thing you mentioned about talking to Tianfeng is like the difference between, I guess, like AI development in China, rest of Asia.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share a little bit about what you talked about with Tianfeng, right? And especially comparing that also to other parts of the world. What are the differences in terms of how AI is developing?
Yes, of course. I think in the China that right now there's a top to down that is a trend that all of the leaders is trying to push about the new technology into their business because they are facing the more challenges about business, right? About the growth and also about the cost saving. But in Asia, right now, they're normally the industry person, customers, they are waiting for the new trading from the AI technology startup company, and they need the information from the like Google AI, the platform company, to get that information together, and they're waiting for. They have a lot of busy case. They want to use AI, but right now they not exacting AI solution fulfill for here, and also they will see a lot of product is designed for China, for American, but not here.
And I guess that's what really attracted you to Wiz, right? Because it's a product designed specifically for initially designed for Singapore companies, for Southeast Asia companies, right?
Yes.
Could you describe a little bit of how your past experiences working in tech in China have shaped how you're approaching your role now at Wiz.AI?
Right now, that I think we can talk about the conversational AI and what WIZ is focused on. To me, that the conversational AI is not only a piece about the technology, but also a benchmark, or even that itself is a very core goal of the artificial intelligence. Okay, because back to the story that you know that the famous Turing test. That is the conversational scenario, right? That we are supposing that a computer or AI can persuade the people facing convert to him it cannot be distinguished as a human. Okay. What I see that okay, the conversational AI right now that to develop very very fast, basing on the LLM, the large language model. But we need to notice that the conversational AI is not right. It's long before the large language model. Just like it's basing on the ASR, TTS, and ALU, this kind of algorithm, it has already gained very steady in the really useful of the business team. Okay, just like with the solution, we are already have again a lot of the scenario use cases in our industry. So it can be used that in the not so open use cases. It's not so open the conversation, and it's not required so human-like conversation intelligence. So this already gain the business value, right? And it has scaled into an industry. So that's what I can see. Okay.
Yeah, no, quite interesting because I think LLMs is just the latest development in the conversational AI, and you guys have been WIZ has been running since 2019.
Yes.
I guess long before all these LLMs go into the mainstream, right?
Yes.
What can you share about how WIZ.AI is scaling out as a global company, and how is it developing a competitive mode against, especially today, there are a lot more AI companies around and building, I guess, how we call like wrapper companies, right? Building around existing LLMs and all.
Yeah, you're right. There's quite a challenge that we saw a lot of challenges right for competitors going here. And I think that we didn't to see that we see that as a positive signals because that you know that the business values here, okay? And I think the totally different is that we are not right now is not startup from zero. Okay, we start already a fundamental about the solution and also the business case. So right now, when the large language model technology is here, it helps us to extend to more use cases. And to us, that is the marketing extend. Okay. But I think to the most of the competitors, the new startup, they are right now is working on how to adapt the technology into the new use cases. So that's totally different. So we have a massive go ahead. Okay. So that's what we see in this, what we are seeing in these things. And right now, our GTM's strategy is not focusing on the top. You know that we have a lot of the customers in big names right here in the region. I think they are quite innovative on the AI right now. So what we are doing is trying to dig with them about the use case, how to get the most benefit and most of the ROI and also measurable value from business. So when we have the mature about the business case, the solution, the methodology, and also the change management in these kind of tools, so we go abroad. We go to another marketing, go to globally. Our strategy right now.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of going globally, like what are the learnings so far from how different is it from trying to scale in Southeast Asia versus say maybe LATAM or
Yeah, I think that it's quite a lot of things the difference between the different markets right now. And I think that it's a challenge also that the positive point that we can see that the here in Asia, the different countries have different requirement and also have the different governance about the data, about the hosting, how to host your server, these kind of things. That is a barrier or it's a most complicated part point to the big companies. Yeah, but actually it's for our startup, like we are agile and also we are adapting and we grow up from the regionally. So here we can get the difference and we can know what is the most efficiency application scenario and we can get the most benefit that from the good data infrastructure right now that we are building in this country.
Yeah.
So definitely combines it.
And speaking of getting the benefits from the different local infrastructure, right? And your role is really trying to build these stakeholder relationships.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you, any learnings from that point of view as somebody who's trying to talk to, I guess, like government, talk to other business leaders and things like that? How are you able to manage those relationships and make them really benefit WIZ.AI?
I think right now that we have a strong sales team, and also we have the partnership that a lot of the partner is helping us to talking with these companies and also the government.
Right.
That including that that in the past 2 years we have did some project for the
Right.
government about very complicated cases that how to do the online services for the customer for the government. Okay. And also we did that the chatbot like in Centaurus, that's the nation hosted the area. And we get a lot of efficiency effect here in a lot of price here.
And I'm interested to know, what do you see as the future of conversational AI moving forward? LLM is just the latest in a host of different technologies that have pushed conversational AI forward. Like you mentioned TTS and all these other things. Like, what's the next step for conversational AI?
Right now, we are using the large language model to benefit from our fundamental product. For example, that it will be covered that long tail about the use case that is requiring more intelligence use cases.
Yeah.
For example, that the inbound call, that the customer coming in, you don't know what is the purpose, right? Originally, okay. So it's a very open scenario. The large language model will help us more. So our product right now is a coverage a lot of new use cases. That's the first step. And second step is that we found the large language model will help us to stable the small language that the model from TTS and ASR to have the training, have the material of the conversation material, these kind of things, and to stronger our process, how to do the onboarding process for us. In the second part, we saw that with the growth about the conversational AI and also how it boosts on the large language model, that a lot of capability will be boosted up. For example, that how you can handle the conversation with the customer while he sends you an image. Okay, so this is totally that use case we didn't mention, we didn't met before, or we are not required to handle that before. But here we are trying to emerge that all this kind of evaluate all of the technology growth and also embedded into our system. Okay.
Right.
That is our the roadmap, what we can see. We can saw in the voice bot, or we can see the top bot generally right now.
So it's opening up the different use cases, making it more flexible, easier to build new scenarios, or even I like what you mentioned about inbound calls, right? The ability of the talkbot to just assess already like what the scenario is without it having to be built for a specific scenario, right?
Not so many of the boundaries
Yeah.
conversation content.
Yeah, so instead of having like a collection talkbot or a customer service talkbot, it's just one talkbot that can do multiple kind of use cases.
And then practically that would have some router agent, okay, that you call, I can transfer to another.
Right. Okay. So one agent and then another layer of different agents. Quite exciting. How do you see? I think there's a lot of talk right now about, I guess, MCPs, model context protocols, and how I guess it allows developers to be able to offload costs, right, to the large language models and not have to spend so much to build internally. What are your views on that?
It's a very interesting question because the price model is totally changed. For the SaaS comparing with the AI application with the traditionally SaaS software. Okay, so what I see that they are charging by the token cost or even by the how many agent we replace about the headcount. I think I have some opinion that is just temporary. To me, that is temporary because that what I see that if you are calculating about the cost comparing about the human, that means that we are assume the AI is right now to changing the workflow right now, the SCN workflow. I think it's not the future change because that is the fundamental change. The workflow will be changed. The organization will be changed, and even the responsibility about the human will be changed. So I think it's not a simple compare about how you can replace that headcount. Okay, so I think that in future maybe more that we're considering about the business value in a new measure way, but not just comparing about the cost to compare with human or the just a cost model. I don't think so.
Right. So how do you think that will affect pricing for a lot of these companies and the business model, even for WIZ?
I think that the token cost away is very good for the startup company because it allows us to use the AI infrastructure in a very cost. In first step, okay, we can invest a little to go into this area and to make some application, make the product. So that's good for right now.
Yeah, it allows you to run a lot more experiments quickly and cheaply as well. How do you see Wiz.AI in terms of? I remember 2 years ago, Jennifer was talking about her vision of AI products was really flexibility, right, and very user personalized solutions. Where is Wiz.AI in terms of that, heading towards that kind of feature?
We saw that it already changed a lot. That it benefit from the large language model. Right now, just like you say, that we can set up that in different personality, and also in different language, and also about the gender, about to kind of much more better about customer experience right now. And what we can see that maybe that we can make that distinguish for each one, just like you see that water in the grog. Yeah, it's a very personal AI personalization, let me think this way. I think that it will be happen in the consumer industry first and go in the enterprise market. So also will be happen here.
And what are the enterprise these days looking for when it comes to AI solutions? I guess many of them, especially the larger ones, are already familiar. Some of them are already ahead, like they're very innovative, as you mentioned. Like, what are their biggest considerations?
I think the big consideration should be very familiar to us because that it's exactly the same with what they're facing in the past year to facing a new technology innovation. Okay, always including that how you can measure about the ROI and how can I get my business value unlock and how you can make the change management. That's not only a technology change, it's not a tool change, but you need to help us to activate about what is the processing change, what is the organization change, even the business model maybe change. So the consideration almost the same. But what we can see that maybe something different in this time. Because the AI is not different with the previous technology. The previous technology always the push from top to down. Okay, but right now that everyone uses AI in the company, that I think from the intern to the CEO, they already using some large language model tools. So it's really to take us more confident to make the onboarding process to the end user. So that's something different right now.
Yeah. Does it? So what are the other remaining challenges when it comes to selling to enterprise? What is something that I guess stops them from choosing one AI solution over another? Are there still barriers to entry in that case? Or?
Oh, you mentioned about the builder and buyers. It reminds me that I just read a report from MIT that it called that the AI and the general AI in business in 2025, and it's named that in something like the Gen AI is divided. So that is mentioned that they have the finding. The key finding is that 95% of organization is getting the zero return from the effort. Okay, so they are trying to find the gap. They studied about the builders, which more about the startup company in providing AI product, and they studied about the big company that the buyers. Okay, and they found that the builder is success because their AI product is always focusing on the narrow use cases and try to get success in the just the use cases. Okay, but the buyer, the big company, the enterprise is always asking a more complex solution right now. They're asking the product can be filled in their specific workflow, integrated with their existing tools, and then you consider about their employees' habit and the behaviors, and also they want to have the data boundaries. Okay, so that's a big gap. That the big gap is just our AI partner. So that's what we want to build up to cooperate with our customers. That we want to make the bridge between this gap. Okay, we know that they are not only need a static AI product, but also that a long-term ship can help them to make the change, help them to adapt to the AI era, and help them to go into change over the time. So that's what we want to provide in the AI.
And that's your role, right?
Yes. We want to build up that because that if you look back to see what is the WIZ can provide, that we are already involved very deeply into the customer's working flow, that ability. And we also it's built up on the AI technology from the very early the conversational AI and now the large language model. We know each other, and also that we found that we have and we are building right now, and we already have something. We have the tools to have to evaluate the business value. We have the methodology to have to make the change, and we have some product already there. So this is what we can do.
Yeah, no, quite interesting. And I guess a lot of you have the WIZ.AI, like the AI product itself, but then you're also like working with them, especially the larger like enterprise.
Yes.
Do you see these like AI partners, quote unquote, also having agents for that as well? Instead of say like a customer success team, like they would also work internally with the platform.
Yes, of course, because that's what we see with our customer. That will be, I think that's two different kind of the drivers of how to have the AI. One is that AI driven. They are very focusing on how do the use case, how do you help me to do the project to deal with this use case. You measure that with how to cut the running cost, one-time deployment cost, these kind of things. The second part, they're not only to focus on one business case. They want to build an entire AI architecture for all of the department. They want to have the capability to build the agent for different parts. Like you just mentioned, that the customer service and the internally study, some reporting, analyze, and maybe some governance and agent. So we help them to make that the AI fundamental. Okay, AI. I call that the AI force build up. Okay, and also that the evaluation framework dependency.
And I guess when it comes to SaaS, I guess sometimes a lot of these onboarding would take, I guess, several months, sometimes even a year.
Yes.
Like with AI, how does the turnaround usually, how is it impacted?
I think that it will be accelerated, but it's almost the same. The methodology also was the same. We did some POC to prove that what business value we can get, and then you define about the solution, then what we need to change, what the system we need to integration with you, and then we go to the end-to-end solution. The most major step is the same. But right now with the LLM, that the POC will be much quicker, and also that we can use our experience to make the agent to help us to make the methodology done, get a solution very quickly. And then for the end-to-end solution also, you know that the AI coding ran very strong out for the interface integration. So okay.
So do you know how much faster it is now to turn around?
I cannot to measure about that.
On average,
Depending on capacity. But what I saw that all of our programmers are already using the AI coding right now. And I think that maybe 1 to 5, 1 to 7, this kind of capability right now.
Yeah, and as we draw to the end of our chat, like I wanted to ask for your advice, right? For leaders who are listening in, who are thinking about AI transformation as well. What advice do you have for them if they're maybe experimenting with a lot of different AI tools and worrying about spending too much on all these different AI solutions? Like, how should leaders think about experimenting, spending on these solutions, and getting the ROI that they want?
Yeah, I think that that's right now that nobody is doubting about what is AI. What the capability right now. I think right now the question is that how you can adapt to AI as earlier as possible. The first thing I think that for all of the leaders for the industry enterprise, they should thinking about the AI architecture rather than the technical architecture right now that here existing. They should thinking about that how to balance between different large language models. For the enterprise perspective, we never want to bind into one vendor. And also, I think that we can gain the AI evaluations that just step by step. From the easy case, from the most ROI we can get to get the easy case, okay? And from the successful AI use case employment, we can go to another one. So just step that should be okay. And I think that the most thing that I think for all the leaders to thinking about is that how the human is working with AI.
Yeah.
Because that is the question for even for us, and we are thinking about when the AI coming, when AI is more stronger and more the capabilities increasing, the use cases is increasing. That what is exact the working flow right now? What is the person, the companies need?
Yeah.
Okay. So everything is changed. So I think for the leadership should be thinking about that kind of stuff.
And finally, maybe you can share with our audience what has been the most challenging point in your career so far that other leaders can learn from.
I think it's a big challenge that I'll go overseas from fast-growing China to see the whole board, over the world, because I think that the world is changing. And the changing is because of the US and China, this kind of this kind of complex issues, and also the AI technology innovation. So these two strong part is to make everything changing. So I think that you need to keep that keep in mind to see what is happening and to adapt to what you are doing right now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on a call with us. Yeah. All right.